Good afternoon, everyone. The June 17th, 2025 meeting of the Seattle City Council will come to order. It is 2:02 p.m. I'm Sarah Nelson, Council President. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Rivera.
Present.
Councilmember Saka. Councilmember Solomon. Councilmember Strauss. Councilmember Hollingsworth. Councilmember Kettle.
Here.
Councilmember Moore.
Present.
Councilmember Rink.
Present.
Council President Nelson.
Present.
6 present.
Thank you very much. Well, the first item on our agenda is a presentation, and Councilmember Solomon has the presentation recognizing June 19th as a celebration of Juneteenth. I believe we should wait for him to arrive, so let's just pause for a moment. And he has arrived. Please let the record show that Councilmember Solomon is present. Okay, let's start again. Councilmember Solomon has a proclamation recognizing June 19th as a celebration of Juneteenth. Councilmember Solomon will share comments on the proclamation, then I'll open the floor to my colleagues for their comments, and then after all the councilmember comments, we'll suspend the rules to present the proclamation to our guests and allow our guests to provide a few comments on their own. So, Councilmember Solomon, you're recognized in order to address the proclamation.
Thank you, Council President. When I think about June 16th, Juneteenth, June 19th, what does that actually mean? To me, it means information. It was a group of folks who were free and didn't know it. So as I think about that, I think about, this is not just about a day of celebration, a day of commemoration. It's a day of acknowledgement, and it's a day to acknowledge that our minds, our education, our knowledge, those are some of our greatest assets. So that's one of the reasons why the recipients of the proclamation are Rainer Scholars. And I'll say a little bit more about that and then turn it over to you. Rainer Scholars is a comprehensive 12-year college preparatory program supporting more than 670 students this year across our nation. By focusing on supporting students who face numerous barriers and systemic challenges in the pursuit of higher education, the program's work is integral to creating a stronger future for us all. It is not lost on me that one of the things that would get my ancestors whooped was trying to read. Okay. So, again, personal. Rainer Scholars provides access to transformative educational opportunities designed to ignite the potential of students to create a just and inclusive society with equitable representation at all levels of leadership and influence. And with 370 graduates to date, and in 130 plus colleges from Seattle U to Harvard to Howard. Their alumni is amazing and vast. I had the opportunity to be at their event a few weeks ago because one of their alum is my policy director, Thaddeus Gregory. So I'll just conclude my remarks by saying the education of our people is critical. It's key. June 19th represents education. Guess what? You're free. Okay? Now, the struggle for full equality still goes on. Not going to deny that. But we must continue that struggle. We must continue that fight. So with that, colleagues, thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any comments that my colleagues would like to make? I'll chime in. It is, I think, fitting that you frame the your comments the way you did on the day that we are going to be voting on the Family Education Preschool and Promise Levy. So first of all, thank you very much, Councilmember Solomon, for bringing this forward, and also Councilmember Saka down there for helping to advance this yesterday in briefing. I was proud to sign on to the proclamation yesterday because every day, and especially Juneteenth, we must remember and recognize the resilience and fortitude of Seattle's Black community as they continue to fight against centuries of institutionalized racism. And also, personally, I would like to give thanks for Rainier Scholars and other programs that are similar that seek to redress those historic wrongs. But in any case, thank you very, very much for bringing this forward. I appreciate it. All right, I am not seeing any additional comments. Okay, so seeing no further comments, if there's no objection, the council rules will be suspended to present the proclamation and allow our guests to accept it and provide remarks, or guests, as it may be. Hearing no objection, the council rules are suspended and the proclamation will Director of Rainier Scholars will provide some brief remarks to the council and members of the public. Thank you.
Councilman Member Solomon, Councilmember Nelson, the rest of the, I'll make it a little taller then, how about that? Councilman Solomon and Councilmember Nelson, the rest of the council, thank you so much for this honor. More so what you all do in our community as you're talking about educational initiatives today, the importance of equaling the playing field for so many individuals like myself, Thaddeus, who have come through Seattle. I'm a native, and education is always going to be the equalizer. We do this not just for the kids who go through our program. We do this because of how it impacts our entire community. It impacts education, healthcare, you name it, and we do it through education, and we have to continue investing in the young people in our society. As we have great wealth and great opportunity in Seattle, it's through education that everybody in our community can take part in that, and you all are helping pave that way, and organizations not just Rainier Scholars, but the organizations all across our community. And so we thank you on behalf of our board, our scholars, our families, and our amazing staff who've been doing this work for the last 25 years throughout Seattle and have impacted nearly 700 young people in those amazing 370 grads. We thank you for what you all are doing in this fight, in this struggle, and we ask that you continue to push forward because we are one organization with 55 people doing this work in the greater Seattle-Tacoma area, but we're part of a larger community, and you all are a part of that community that is making a difference. And so thank you all for what you do every single day for this city and this region.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right, colleagues, at this time we'll open the hybrid public comment period. Public comment is limited to items on today's agenda, the introduction and referral calendar, and the council work program. Clerk, could you please tell us how many people have signed up?
We have 6 in person and 8 remote.
Let's go ahead and give people 2 minutes each, starting with the in-person commenters.
Speakers will be called in the order in which they are registered. Speakers will hear a chime when 10 seconds are left of their time. Speakers' mics will be muted if they do not end their comments within the allotted time to allow us to call on the next speaker.
Our first two speakers are Rose. Following Rose will be Paul.
Okay. I think it is fitting that we talk about Juneteenth today when we talk about stopping racism, we talk about the things that are happening in our communities, because we have right now one of the greatest sources of racism that has existed in our communities for the last 20 years. We are having ICE raids that are terrorizing our communities, and the council is refusing to make action that are doing anything about this. We are seeing bravery across the nation. We are seeing Boston mayor that is doing Freedom of Information Acts to make sure we know who is being taken. We have Los Angeles state legislature that is banning banning it for people to not identify themselves and cover their faces instead of identifying themselves as law enforcement officials. There are things that we can go to even go beyond that to make sure that we do not have people taken as they shouldn't be. Last Tuesday, SPD worked with ICE officials after ICE had taken 8 individuals into their van, and SPD cleared out protesters so ICE could get away around 8 p.m. on Tuesday at the federal building. This is something that should never have happened. We are supposed to be a sanctuary city, and it is understood by most of the public that under no circumstances is ICE supposed to be able to work with SPD. But there are clear loopholes to this thing. I have recently read through all of the proclamations we had in 2003 here for the city and the 2018 for the state. There is a clear loophole that says that as long as they are not involved in the apprehension of individuals that are undocumented, SPD is allowed to work with ICE. This is not only a terrible thing for individuals that are taken, it is wrecking the view of SPD for everyone in the entire city that sees them as no different from the thugs that are taking our individuals from our communities in the first place. It is essential that we stop this from happening right now. This is something you all could do today. No, Councilmember Wilson, you are someone that, your election is something that's going to be a little bit more on the table than a lot of these people are. A lot of the council members are. If individuals do not take action on ICE, where we have 2 months until the primary.
Thank you.
Paul?
Okay. I'm Paul Glumas, and I'm here representing the King County Republican Party. And first, I want to thank those who are here serving in office of City Council. The growing plague of drug-addicted homeless and all that brings is a profound condemnation of the inhumanity of the governing institutions of Seattle and King County. We are in the grip of a corrupt interaction of the politically influenced nonprofits, their chosen politicians, and intimidation to those, including violent intimidation to those who differ. The more you expand housing first without treatment first, the more you spread the plague, as well as increase the services, as well and the housing first expansion gives more power because it's profitable to these individuals who are involved, and it's a base of the political power that exerts tremendous influence in our county. I am in favor of having a movement emerge from the population, from the people, for treatment first, that will not be intimidated, that will not be told, well, these people need to have their drugs, or it's okay, the problem is the housing is too much. Yes, we need public housing. We need massive amount of public housing, but not to put drug addicts in those houses to spread the crime throughout the community. You can't do that. That's inhuman.
Thank you.
Alex?
Sie heil, my dirty damn Nazi Gestapo fascist pig, a muck, a bandita. My name Alex Zimmerman. I'm president of Stand Up America. I support Trump from beginning. I speak in council chamber 5,000 times. I have 6,000 days of trespass. You prosecute me 5 times. Yeah. No analogy in America. I am okay with it. Yeah. But I'm not okay with something what is you talking about. And I come to this meeting for many years. Where is black people in Seattle now? Are they all not legal immigrants? I'm confused. Why you did with them? You don't use policemen. You don't use ICE if black people gone. So you treat them like a what? Like a not legal immigrant? It's confused me. But don't worry. I live for 40 years in Bellevue, in close. You know what it means? For 40 years, I never see black community in all east sides. Leslie Island, Bellevue. Bellevue, a nightmare. It's a pure freaking Nazi pig. Kirkland, in another Issaquah and Redmond. Never I see this. Statistically, 7% black you're supposed to be. You don't have right now. You are treated like not legal immigrant. By definition, you are bandita, a criminal. This is exactly what is you doing here. I'm totally confused about this. Yeah, about freedom of speech. Look, room empty. It's exactly what is I working for 30 years. So this 750,000 degeneratively idiot wake up and clean this chamber totally from this bandita. But we need to open a better room. And I will speak right now to Council Ring because she wants talking to people. And I talked to you many times. Why you don't open better room and give people chance to speak for 3 or 5 minutes? Stand up, America, for Donald Trump. Stand up, stand up.
We have Melody McMillan and then Bennett.
Good afternoon. My name is Melody McMillan, and I serve as the Senior Executive Director for the Seattle Promise Program. And to my colleagues at Rainier Scholars, keep up the great work. You're doing a great job. Today, I'm here on behalf of more than 1,000 current Seattle Promise Scholars who wanted to be here, but they're wrapping up spring quarterfinals this week. The Seattle Promise Program is profoundly investing in the futures of our youth, ensuring that they can access college, succeed, earn their degree, and step confidently into their future. When students apply to Seattle Promise, they share with us their academic career goals, their concerns about going to college on their application. So I want to thank AI for helping me to analyze nearly 15,000 responses from students since 2019 so that I can share with you that our students are aspiring to high demand fields like healthcare, electrical engineering, cybersecurity, business, often with a drive for public service. Many use the Path to UW program and are planning for advanced degrees like a PhD in gastroenterology. And they're seeking roles that have for both personal fulfillment and societal impact. Underlying is students are seeking economic stability and the ability to uplift their families. There's opportunity in education and in the pathways that are funded through the FEP levy. Our data show that students do have anxieties about the cost of college, the impact that that will have on their families, anxieties about academic transitions, and needs related to disabilities and language acquisition. And this is where the Seattle Promise program is invaluable in our city. By offering comprehensive student support and tying in cross-organizational and citywide partnerships, we are directly addressing long-standing historical barriers to college access and success. Council members, your commitment to the Seattle Promise means that we are not just funding education, we are cultivating future nurses and engineers, welders, entrepreneurs who are ready to contribute to our city's vitality. We are meeting their goals and addressing their concerns, ensuring a brighter, more stable future for them and for Seattle.
Bennett?
Stop that, I haven't started talking yet. All right, so this is a video from the protest on Saturday night outside the federal building. You can see the police line advancing. There's a bunch of us walking backwards, but they hit one guy with pepper spray next to me who was walking backwards, and they also broke apart the sign holder that I was holding. I'm the guy holding the sign that says, "Abolish ICE as an American value." I was even carrying an American flag, so there's a point to be made here about the effectiveness of respectability politics. But here you go. Come on. That's me. Pepper spray. Shove me backward. Oh, broke the sign apart. Almost fell on him. Also broke my glasses. That's what these things are. Hey, buddy. All right, so this is what was happening about 2 minutes earlier. There were two protesters who walked up to the police line. One of them is shouting at them, but he's not doing anything illegal. At one point, he gestures like with his hand upward like that, but he doesn't threaten them. If you keep your eye on the shirtless white guy over here, he doesn't even do that. He does absolutely nothing.
Just come back over here, man. Just come back over here. Whoa.
And they took that guy down too. What did he do?
The person you arrested did not touch the officer. He didn't do anything.
Now watch the police line. So they very abruptly start moving. As soon as they start moving, I'm stepping backward too. I'm trying to get out of their way. I'm even pulling the flag back so it doesn't hit any of them. Anyway, you get the idea. Look, I'm fine, but if the police keep doing stuff like this, eventually somebody's going to get hurt who is not fine. Thank you.
Our last speaker, Victoria Palmer. I should say last in-person speaker.
Hi, I'm here once again to call on our public officials to condemn violent protesters in Seattle and allow our police to do their job. My name is Victoria Palmer, and today I speak to you as a Seattle resident and a successful protester myself as organizer of the March for Freedom. My group successfully protested the government's excessive use of public health mandates from 2020 to 2023. We stood up for the civil rights of thousands of unvaccinated workers in Washington state who were ruthlessly terminated for their choice by the Democrats who rule our state. My group protested hundreds of times in Seattle, including a dozen marches through Pike Place Market. Our protests were highly successful in ending the mandates sooner than they would have otherwise ended. We were successful because our message was based on truth and freedom, not because we used violence or intimidation. I interacted with Seattle police on many occasions, and they were always helpful and cooperative in protecting our First Amendment rights. Violence never broke out at my protests, even though Antifa types showed up on many occasions. Although I am a supporter of President Trump, I can respect this weekend's No Kings protest for its success in remaining peaceful. It's clear to both sides who the violent activists are. It's just not clear why our public officials are protecting them. I urge Seattle to take action so Trump doesn't need to. Thank you very much.
We'll now move on to remote speakers. Thank you, Jody.
Thank you. As a reminder to our remote speakers, please press *6 after you've heard the message that you have been unmuted. Our first remote speaker is Danielle Duval, who will be followed by Alberto Alvarez. Go ahead, Danielle.
President Nelson and council members, my name is Danielle Duval, and I'm commenting on behalf of NEOP Washington State, the Commercial Real Estate Development Association, in response to Council Bill 121000. We agree with the intent of this legislation and believe that anti-competitive practices harm our housing ecosystem. However, we have concerns with the written and believe that without changes, this bill could create unintended consequences for both housing providers and tenants. We are proposing a friendly amendment that addresses our concerns. Additionally, we are concerned about the speed at which this legislation was introduced and passed out of committee. There was no outreach to key stakeholders prior to its introduction. Therefore, we would respectfully request a 1-week delay so that our organization, as well as others, such as hotel and short-term rental operators, have sufficient time to address issues with the bill. We support the central goal of this legislation to prevent anti-competitive collusion. We ask the council to take time to consider the full impacts of this bill on property managers, tenants, housing providers, and tailor the language to ensure the effect of the bill matches its intent. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Alberto Alvarez, followed by Carter Nelson. Go ahead, Alberto.
Thank you. So for the record, for people that are suffering through homelessness and drug addiction, they need a combination of both shelter and treatment concurrently, not treatment. And treatment is not just a one-night detox, which could lead to more severe consequences. The other point that was made just now about the protests where millions across the nation were able to protest, non-violently. The main reason for that was that across all the states and across all the major cities, most of the police officers were on the sidelines, as they should be, guiding traffic, keeping an eye out, and so on. But they were not creating a conflict or a blockade to try to, stop people in their tracks, that is an escalation each and every time. And that's what leads to a lot of these conflicts that happen at, when so-called Antifa rolls in. So it's when the police are on the sidelines, keeping an eye out, that's their place, not creating a stop for the protests to occur. Having said that, council is facing a severe economic downturn and a budget that will not match the needs of the people. People are making sacrifices just to keep a home and live on a shrinking budget. Council will have the job of appointing a District 5 member. A business council appointment to roll back renter protections will push countless more people into eviction or crisis. The danger is real. You have to get this one right. No more landlords, no more corrupt business appointments. Your appointment is a life and death decision for thousands of people. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Carter Nelson, who will be followed by Kate Rubin. Go ahead, Carter.
Good afternoon, President Nelson and City Council members. Thank you for the opportunity to provide comment on Council Bill 121-000. Carter Nelson on behalf of the Washington Multifamily Housing Association. WMFA represents Seattle's rental housing industry, including 91,000 units in the city of Seattle. We share the council's goal of increasing transparency in the rental market and preventing anti-competitive practices. However, we are concerned about the speed of this process and the lack of outreach to impacted stakeholders, including our industry. This ordinance was introduced and passed out of committee on the same day without prior engagement with property managers, despite the fact that the bill directly focuses on tools used in rental housing operations. Without engaging the very people that understand these tools and the problems they are designed to help solve, we are likely to see unintended consequences. As currently written, this bill would make it harder for property managers to compare rents in their own building or across properties and to understand what their competitors are asking for in rent. Taking these marketplace tools table and offline will actually make housing less transparent and slow down the speed housing providers fill empty units. We've worked on proposed friendly amendments that maintain the intent of the bill and clarify that housing providers can continue to use publicly available data and their internal vacancy and lease information in their own operations. We respectfully request a pause on the bill to allow for stakeholder input and refinement of language, particularly as we continue to hear concerns from hotel and short-term rental operators who may also be impacted. WMFA is committed to working with council to ensure this policy is clear, effective, and avoids pulling important information used to fill vacancies offline, which ultimately harms housing access in Seattle. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our last remote speaker will be Kate Rubin. Go ahead, Kate.
My name is Kate Rubin. I'm a renter in District 2 and the co-executive director of Seattle. I want to thank Councilmember Moore and co-sponsors Strauss and Rink for introducing this bill to ban algorithmic rent pricing. RealPage and its users have contributed directly to our housing and homelessness crisis. Their rent setting software is designed to push prices higher, not based on what's fair or what renters can reasonably afford, but based on what the market can bear when landlords act in lockstep. I appreciate the urgency to move quickly before the wealthy landlord lobby can further mobilize to try to justify this exploitative practice, but I am asking you to delay the final vote by 1 week. I strongly disagree with the statements made by the commenters before me, but I believe that the legislation needs targeted amendments to ensure that it will meaningfully protect renters. Please take the extra week to get this right to make sure that renters are protected by this bill. And thank you so much again.
Thank you. We do have one additional remote speaker, David Haynes. David Haynes, please go ahead.
Hi, City Council. Please reconsider Star Chaser surveillance technology. Seattle is copycatting Pierce County, who's still going through a test phase. Let them try and figure it out. It's not worth taking pot shots at the back of people's cars, damaging them under the guise of drivers being automatically considered a potential criminal on the run. Seattle needs more advanced technology, such as drones, to follow back the evil predatory drug pushers to their stash and rape houses who are using bikes and scooters to roll in and out of all these open-air drug markets in downtown, where the police chief is conveniently mismanaging the crime-fighting tools, sending a couple to 6 bike cops to contend with up to 40 repeat offenders, while deploying more cops for overtime at law-abiding events and prioritizing coffee propaganda outreach in law-abiding neighborhoods, bothering law-abiding residents, letting community know how nice the cops are and how articulate about political excuses, while council lacks effective laws and spending priorities, continuing to exacerbate public safety crisis, the homeless crisis, and the housing crisis. That said, you know the Ziply deal for the fiber optics that goes from Seattle to Skagit? In the fine print, it says indefeasible, which I think means something like you cannot get out of the deal, despite what the city staff said last week. I bring this up because there seems to be a plan by Ziply to deceive the government into getting regulatory permission, then conveniently using debt as the excuse to sell out to Bell Canada, who's fixing to take over the fiber optics in the Pacific Northwest. And it looks like the city council is looking the other way. He's willing and expedite and approve of what seems to be a suspicious deal. And, you know, it's kind of like another one of the suspect situations with the central city and the transparency of a bunch of landlords who are still sabotaging the comprehensive plan and backstabbing the working class and selling out.
Thank you, David. That is our last remote speaker.
Thank you very much. We've reached the end of our list of speakers, so the public comment period is now closed. Oh, and Councilmember Hollingsworth has joined us. Hello. Okay. So, hold on a second. If there is no objection, the introduction and referral calendar will be adopted. Hearing no objection, the introduction and referral calendar is adopted. I now move to adopt the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda. Are there any comments?
Yes.
Councilmember Solomon.
Yes, Council. Thank you very much, Council President. I move to postpone Council Bill 121000 until the June 24th City Council meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to postpone item 3, Council Bill 121000 until the June 24th City Council meeting. Are there any comments on this motion to postpone item 3?
Council President.
Hold on a second. Let me see if Councilmember Rivera.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to say, colleagues, I'm
sorry.
Sorry.
I believe that I would like to allow for Councilmember Moore to.
Okay. I'm just, sorry, colleagues. I co-own a small rental in Seattle, and so I will be recusing myself from this vote. I have not worked on anything related to this issue, and so wanted to say that at the top of this conversation.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Councilmember Moore.
Thank you, Council President. So I just want to speak against the motion. I appreciate the interest in wanting to continue to workshop this legislation. However, it is my opinion that more time will not get us a better bill. This legislation is taken directly from the state bill. I made the decision to replicate the state legislation rather than trying to create our own legislation, because I knew it had been thoroughly vetted by legislative staff in Olympia and by Senator Jesse Solomon. I note it has been further vetted by our central staff and our law department. I felt that making changes to the state legislation ran the risk of unintended consequences and would open the door to a multitude of conflicting amendments, which we have heard along the floor that there are different conflicting amendments, some brought by the landlord representatives, some brought by the tenant representatives. I'm concerned that this is what will happen if we continue the vote, that we will get mired in conflicting and difficult pieces of amendments. There's been some concern expressed about the speed of this bill and the stakeholdering, and I appreciate that. But what I want you to know, and we addressed this issue in committee, where 4 out of the 5 of us voted to move this to today's calendar for a full vote, is that this bill moved quickly because it was thoroughly vetted statewide with the voices that we heard from today, from landlord representatives and from tenant representatives who've commented here today, both requesting to delay this vote. I do believe that Councilmember Strauss's amendment, should it pass, which requires a report back from SDCI on their outreach to landlords on the implementation of this bill, will give us the opportunity to see if we, in fact, do need to make some minor changes. And so my position is that we should move forward, that we are not going to wind up with a better product, and that we are here today fully informed of what this bill does because of the stakeholdering it received in Olympia and the opportunity to view it here and discuss it in committee, and that we do not have the time to continue to delay a tool that we have to begin to address the affordability crisis in our city. So I would respectfully request that we take the vote today. Thank you.
Councilmember Solomon, do you wish to have any comments before I go to the second person that had their hand up? Go ahead.
Oh, no, I see that Councilmember Strauss had his hand up
Okay,
first. So
I was just given the note to do that. Councilmember Strauss.
Thank you, Council President. Colleagues, if we are going to delay this bill today, I will need help next week with my amendment because I will be attending the Association of Washington Cities Conference and I won't be here to run my amendment. So just asking if we do delay this bill that somebody help me out here by bringing my amendment forward. Thank you.
Councilmember Kettle.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Councilmember Moore, for looking into this issue related to the algorithm, the price fixing, and the like. It's a very important piece. It's an issue where we do need to have a level playing field. We need to ensure that the digital equivalent to the backroom price fixing is not allowed. I also want to thank Councilmember Solomon for his motion, which I support, and I support for 2 reasons. One, again, I understand and I support the bill on the base, but for example, Amendment A, I believe should not be a recital. I think it should be transformed, and I've had discussions with legal about this, transforming it and putting into the bill itself. I think that will be an improvement of the bill and very important to put down, the guardrails as it relates to this, because the concern is as we say, second and third order effects. So I support the bill, but I support the bill with the amendment, which I would bring after consultations with legal to basically a version of your Amendment A, which is just for the recital. I think it's too important just to be sitting in the recital piece. And I just wanted to add one thing too, because I recognize the point about Olympia, but at the same time, I just have way too many examples on public safety where Olympia has failed us. So I do not believe in the general point of Olympia has vetted this, so therefore it's okay. Because if we did that, that would be a problem as a policy. I can tell you, public safety, that is not in any reason to push forward on a bill. We have to do our own due diligence. We have to work the pieces as it relates to our circumstances here in Seattle. And yes, I just wanted to make that point. Olympia vetting should not be a reason to push forward, particularly with the the scheduling of this bill. Thank you, Chair.
I will go ahead and mention just on a procedural point. I found out this morning that the central staff person analyst who was lead on this legislation was not here, which put the responsibility on their backup to draft the many amendments, and so and I don't know if they were able to be reviewed by law. So I will support this. The motion to delay not simply because, but on the procedural grounds that as council president, I do have a responsibility to mitigate workflow and quality control issues that can arise when legislation hasn't been, or when amendments, which are legislation, aren't vetted by law or are put together hastily. So that's why I will be supporting a 1-week delay.
May I respond, Council President?
Yes, you may.
So both of the amendments that are before us today have been thoroughly vetted by law. So there's nothing before us today that hasn't been run through central staff by Tommaso and then been run through law.
Oh.
And I spoke with law about a whereas versus codified, and they were fine with it being a whereas. All of this has been vetted. I wouldn't bring anything that hadn't been vetted by law. And secondly, I think it's insulting to say that Olympia always gets it wrong. To me, that's an indication of the continued arrogance of this jurisdiction to think that only Seattle knows how to do it. We have shown over and over and over that we don't always get it right. And you know, where I stand on some of the state legislation around the comp plan, so clearly I don't think Olympia always gets it right. But I also think that Seattle has a tendency to think that it knows best always, and we do not always know best. And sometimes we need to have the humility to acknowledge when we haven't, when there's work product that actually is good, and work product that will address the issue that we have before us. And we often can muck things up because everybody has to have their fingerprint on it. So I just think it behooves us to have some humility when we're talking about our fellow electeds and our fellow jurisdictions. And again, I do not honestly think that we will wind up with a better product if we spend more time on this. Respectfully, thank you.
I offer my apologies for assuming that it had not been reviewed by law. Apologies. And Councilmember Strauss, I will take responsibility for bringing forward your amendment next week. If I'll help out.
Thank you, Council President. I'll work with the colleagues to identify. I've already had offers from others.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other comments? Councilmember Kettle.
Thank you, Chair. Two things. One is I recognize law has looked at both amendments that are currently before this bill. That doesn't change the fact that Amendment A would be better in the text of the bill, in my opinion, hopefully my colleagues as well, versus as a recital. And two, with respect to public safety, there's no arrogance at all. This is about practical experience and just making that point. And so I would make the point that the comment is based on practical experience, not on arrogance.
All right. Will the clerk please call the roll on postponing item 3 until June 24th?
Councilmember Rivera.
Abstain.
Councilmember Saka.
Aye.
Councilmember Solomon.
Aye.
Councilmember Strauss.
Yes.
Councilmember Hollingsworth.
No.
Councilmember Kettle.
Aye.
Councilmember Moore.
No.
Councilmember Rink.
Yes.
Council President Nelson.
Aye.
6 in favor, 2 opposed, 1 abstention.
The motion to postpone item 3 until June 24th City Council meeting is adopted, and item 3 is removed from today's agenda. If there is no objection, the agenda will be adopted as amended. Hearing no objection, the agenda is adopted as amended. We'll now consider the proposed consent calendar, and the items on the consent calendar are the minutes of May 27th and June 3rd, 2025, Council Bill 121004, payment of bills, and 3 appointments from the Sustainability City Light Arts and Culture Committee. Are there any items council members would like to remove from today's consent calendar? All right, hearing none, I move to adopt the consent calendar. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the consent calendar. Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the consent calendar?
Councilmember Rivera.
Aye.
Councilmember Saka.
Aye.
Councilmember Solomon.
Aye.
Councilmember Strauss. Yes. Councilmember Hollingsworth.
Yes.
Councilmember Kettle.
Aye.
Councilmember Moore. Councilmember Rink.
Yes.
Council President Nelson.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
The consent calendar items are adopted. Will the clerk please affix my signature to the minutes and legislation on the consent calendar on my behalf? All right. Will the clerk please read item 1 into the record?
Agenda item 1, Council Bill 121001, relating to city employment, authorizing execution of a collective bargaining agreement between the City of Seattle and the International Association of Mechanics and Aerospace Workers, District Lodge 160, Local 79. Committee, sorry.
I move to pass Council Bill 121001. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to pass the bill. As sponsor, I'll address the item before opening it up for comments. Okay, so as with all items coming from the Labor Relations Policy Committee, this item went through the full committee process and is now before us at full council. This item in particular is a new collective bargaining agreement between the City of Seattle and the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, District Lodge 160, Local 79, which represents about 30 employees, largely within Seattle City Light and Seattle Public Utilities. And this CBA would retroactively cover these city employees who've been working without an active contract since the beginning of 2023 and would continue coverage through the end of this year. The negotiated agreement is in line with the coalition collective bargaining agreements that we passed in April 2024, which provide these employees with annual wage increases between 4% and 5%, among many other benefits. And as described in the summary and fiscal note, the CBA would exceed the costs anticipated for the 3-year coverage period by approximately $3 million. The City Budget Office plans to transmit separate legislation to authorize additional appropriation for city departments, and this would largely be taken up by ratepayers, which is where the revenue, how we pay for the costs of the utility. So with that, are there any comments? All right. Will the clerk please call the roll on the passage of the bill?
Councilmember Rivera.
Aye.
Councilmember Saka.
Aye.
Councilmember Solomon.
Aye.
Councilmember Strauss.
Yes.
Councilmember Hollingsworth.
Yes.
Councilmember Kettle.
Aye.
Councilmember Moore.
Aye.
Councilmember Rink.
Yes.
Council President Nelson.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
Okay, the bill passes and the chair will sign it. Will the clerk please affix my signature to the legislation on my behalf? Will the clerk please read item 2 into the record?
The report of the Select Committee on Families, Education, Preschool, and Promised Levy, Agenda Item 2, Council Bill 120981, relating to regular property taxes, requesting that a special election be held concurrent with the November 4th, 2025 general election for submission to the qualified electors of the city, a proposition to lift the limit on regular property taxes under Chapter 84.55 RCW and to authorize the city to levy additional taxes for up to 6 years for the purposes of providing education support services designed to improve access to early learning. The committee recommends the bill passes amended.
Thank you. Councilmember Rivera, as chair of the committee, you're recognized to provide the committee report.
Thank you, Council President. Colleagues, we've come to the moment where we have the honor of voting to place the Families Education Preschool Promise Levy on this year's November's ballot. These investments will provide concrete, long-lasting, positive outcomes in the lives of kids. That is why Seattle voters have come to value and trust this levy. It benefits kids and directly supports kids' educational achievement. Now more than ever, given the federal government's attack on our children and working families, these investments are essential. This levy will provide critical investments in subsidized childcare and preschool, provide deeply needed K-12 academic, physical, and mental health supports, and continues universal access to a 2-year degree and adds more certificate programs in the trades through the Seattle Promise program. Colleagues, I want to give a special note of congratulations to this year's Promise students. Commencement is this week, and I'm so proud of these graduates, many of whom are first-generation college graduates, as I was many years ago when I was a young person. I move to, do I move the bill? Yes. I move Council Bill 120981. Is there a second?
Second.
Yes, all right.
Moved and seconded.
And then I have
the amendment. Go ahead.
Yep, and Council President, I move to amend Council Bill 120981 as presented on Amendment A on the agenda.
Second.
Thank you, Council President.
It's been moved and seconded to amend the bill as presented on Amendment A. Councilmember Rivera, as sponsor, you're recognized to address the amendment.
Thank you, Council Member. This is a very small technical amendment, colleagues. It was something that was not caught as originally drafted, and so we are amending the language to align with the Washington Administrative Code's definition for childcare. So it's a very small amendment. We meant to catch it before it was submitted, and we're just using it to align with the state. That's all.
Okay. Are there any comments on Amendment A? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll on Amendment A?
Councilmember Rivera.
Aye.
Councilmember Saka.
Aye.
Councilmember Solomon.
Aye.
Councilmember Strauss.
Yes.
Councilmember Hollingsworth.
Yes.
Councilmember Kettle.
Aye.
Councilmember Moore.
Aye.
Councilmember Rink.
Yes.
Council President Nelson.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
Okay, the motion carries and the Amendment A is adopted. Are there further comments on the bill as presented? Councilmember Saka.
Thank you, Madam Council President. I move to amend Council Bill 120981 as presented on the recently distributed Amendment B.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to amend the bill as presented on Amendment B. Councilmember Saka, as sponsor, you're welcome to speak to it.
Thank you, Madam Council President. Colleagues, I am presenting an updated amendment. I heard your concerns from last week's Select Committee loud and clear, which I greatly appreciated, especially the concerns related to and desire expressed not to impact the critical SPP providers. So I have updated information and updated the amendment accordingly. So including the effect statement of the amendment, a pilot program to subsidize preschool costs for working families in neighborhoods where SPP slots are not available, emphasizing the phrasing pilot program, and also clarifying in the intent or the effect statement that it is not intended to impact funding for current or future planned SPP slots. So first and foremost, this amendment is all about addressing equity, expanding access, and increasing flexibility. The underlying challenge is there's currently an accessibility and coverage gap. Secondly, there are many situations where families with non-traditional, non-conventional, non-9 to 5, non-Monday through Friday work schedules still need access to childcare. Think of first responders, grocery store workers, Uber Eats delivery drivers, and the like. Many working families need the support where SPP providers are not available due to wait lists, and this can especially include needs, like I mentioned, for after-hour care, weekend care, et cetera. There is an SPP map that shows that although we don't have precise waitlist data or information, that 105 SPP providers, of the 105 SPP providers, there are swaths of neighborhoods, wide swaths in fact, who do not have providers in geographic proximity. And with respect to the wait lists, about 60% of the providers currently have wait lists. And with regard to the geographic proximity and the coverage gap on the map, we know that the North End has the least number of SPP providers. So under the terms of this amendment, there will be no impact on current or future SPP providers, and it also makes clear this is a pilot project only to allow DEAL to study impacts to SPP enrollment, among other program impacts. I leave that up to DEAL to make the pilot objectives, scope, and scale. And it also ties nicely in with the spirit of my earlier amendment that was passed to study feasibility of universal child care subsidies. For those reasons, colleagues, I ask for your support. Thank you.
Councilmember Rivera.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Councilmember Saka, for caring so much about kids and our families and providing preschool for our kids. You and I have had many conversations, and we are aligned on that part. I will say that we disagree, and having spoken to the Department of Education and Early Learning this morning, this particular amendment actually does have an impact on our preschool providers. If we are giving the subsidy to parents to use outside of our preschool program, then we are having an impact on our providers. There are providers in most of our council districts, if not all. I've met with many. I've met with a couple on the south end, a couple on the north end. They provide amazing service to our kids. And to take money away for such a pilot program would take money away from those providers. And I do not support that. So while I appreciate the intention behind this, I cannot support, again, this amendment because I do not want it to have this unintended consequence where providers are going to be impacted because this subsidy could be used outside of our preschool program, which, by the way, is award-winning because it is quality. Providers that are on the list for the preschool program are monitored for quality, and they have to meet certain quality standards to participate in the program. So to go outside of this program really cuts into the quality aspect of this preschool program. So colleagues, I am not going to be supporting this amendment for those reasons. Thank you.
Are there other comments? Well, I will just say that I really appreciate the effort to tweak the amendment that didn't pass in committee. I'm going to stay with my position in committee and today. I think that this is a solution to a much bigger problem, which is how do we get childcare to our families in Seattle that first of all don't perhaps have access to it because of income, or they don't have access to the childcare that is appropriate for the hours that they need to work, etc. This program is recognized for its quality, and I feel that that not knowing where the money would come from, it would likely remove money from the providers that are providing it right now. But I will say that this is it's a nudge for me to prevail upon the Office of Economic Development, who had identified childcare as the big lift for the city to address. So thank you very much for putting it front and center. Thank you. Councilmember Rink.
Thank you, Council President. I wanted to take a moment to voice my support for this amendment and thank Councilmember Saka for your leadership on this. It is critical that we expand access to childcare around our city, And this offers an opportunity for us to be able to think more creatively on this matter. And as Councilmember Rivera had mentioned a number of times throughout the FEP levy process, our next step in this process is developing that I&E plan. And I think by including this amendment here, it creates the opportunity for us to take up those discussions in the I&E plan, understand those impacts, and figure out potentially a path forward. So I will be supporting this amendment today, and I want to thank again Councilmember Saka for bringing it forward. Thank you.
Councilmember Rivera.
Thank you, Council President. I did want to make a couple other points, which is that not only are we delivering on an award-winning program, our Seattle preschool program, but I also want to say that the providers, I wanted to quote from a provider who is supportive of the program and of this levy, is this levy not only invests in stable, high-quality childcare and supports our working families, it also strengthens our community by investing in the essential childcare providers, primarily staff of color who nurture and care for our children every day. The other piece that distinguishes our program from is that many of those workers at the SPP providers get education, extra opportunities so that they can provide care to the students. And that additional piece where we provide that access to some educational opportunities for the workers also helps to make this a quality program. So going outside of the program would have an impact on that. And I will finally say that there's 600 additional preschool slots that are part of this new levy, and in the implementation process would be a good opportunity for council members to work with the department to figure out where to best designate those extra 600 slots. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Councilmember Moore.
Thank you, Council President. And I too want to say thank you very much, Councilmember Saka, for really trying to move the ball forward on universal preschool and childcare. As a mother of three who struggled to find affordable and quality childcare and made a lot of sacrifices driving my children around the city to find appropriate spaces, I know how difficult this challenge is, and particularly for working families. I am going to maintain my position from committee and that I will be voting against it because I feel that this is not the right vehicle for us to be pursuing universal care. And I do think that we will be taking funding away from the providers. And unfortunately, I think it winds up pitting providers against one another. And we're basically taking private funds and giving and subsidizing the public funds and subsidizing a private market. And we don't have any quality control, as Councilmember Rivera has discussed. And I, too, am very concerned at the paucity of these slots in the North End, and in fact had raised that issue in committee a number of times. And what I would like to see is that in the implementation plan that would require DEAL to add some of those additional 600 slots to the North End and also in the Central District. So while I support the intent, I don't think this is the right way to do it. I think we should be continuing to uplift a very successful program. We don't have a whole lot of really successful programs in the city, and this is one of them. And I think to do anything that would potentially weaken it would be short-sighted, even though the ultimate goal is to find a way to have at least some measure of universal care. Thank you.
Councilmember Saka.
All right. Thank you, Madam Council President. I want to thank each and every one of my colleagues for your for sharing your feedback last week and today. And I respectfully disagree on the merits of substantially all the comments against. But I'll just say this: I am an Seattle preschool program dad, or a former. Now, I no longer have kids in the program, but I'm one of the only council members. This is a nascent 10-plus-year-old program, so it's fairly new, but I'm one of the only council members that have had kids while sitting on council, had kids in the program. So And I talk to providers all the time. I'm proud of the program. It is an excellent program. We need to expand it, make it better. It is not perfect, respectfully. No, there's no such thing. Whenever you think you have something dialed in and perfection is in sight, facts and circumstances change. We need to evolve. We get better. We evolve for a reason. This program is no different. I have a growth mindset. What I am endeavoring to do here is build upon the program, help make it better. I respectfully disagree with the characterization that is pitting providers against each other. Heck no. No, it's not. That's not at all what this amendment does in intent, purpose, and impact and effect. It is a cost-neutral measure, could be funded any number of ways, including underspend, which we know happens all the time. With respect to the comment about quality, I agree, I agree on the premise of the comment. SPP is a world-class leading program that, again, we need to build upon, expand, make better. But it is incredibly paternalistic to say that it is the only, that it, in its current form, in its current state, this is the quality standard for everyone. And this is what everyone should choose and determine. Even some of those coverage gaps notwithstanding, even some of those office or odd hour jobs notwithstanding. Again, this is about maximizing flexibility. And implementation plan, I couldn't agree more. That is another, not the only, that is another vehicle for us as a body to potentially help bring to life something like this. But this underlying legislation, I'm not going to hold this up, Councilmember Hollingsworth. I'm not going to hold up papers anymore. The underlying legislation is a possibilities list. It's just saying what's possible. It's not limiting. So we can still, yes and. This is a yes, another way of saying that. This is a yes and approach. Yes, we can do it during the implementation plan. And we might, who knows? And we can also do it now, setting the table for what is possible. So for those reasons, colleagues, I ask for your support. Thank you.
Is that an old hand, Councilmember Moore?
Oh, old hand.
Yes, okay. All right, I'm not seeing any other comments, so would the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of Amendment B?
Councilmember Rivera.
No.
Councilmember Saka.
Aye.
Councilmember Solomon. Councilmember Solomon.
Aye.
Councilmember Strauss.
Yes.
Councilmember Hollingsworth.
Yes.
Councilmember Kettle.
No.
Councilmember Moore.
No.
Councilmember Rink.
Yes.
Council President Nelson.
No.
5 in favor, 4 opposed.
The motion carries and Amendment B is adopted. Are there further comments on the bill as amended? I am not seeing any other comments. Okay, well, this is when we make the speeches, everybody. Well, then I will go ahead and just want to express my appreciation for Councilmember Rivera for shepherding us through this whole process. Again, you kept a tight ship and you worked really hard before it came to us with the mayor's office, Deputy Mayor Washington. And so I just know that you've been working on this for a very long time and you've paid really close attention and you've been in close coordination with all of us here and with the mayor's office. So I will just recognize that this ballot measure, I've said this before, that this is the ballot measure that I think has the greatest long-term impact because it does, we know how important kindergarten readiness is, and this particular FEP levy does double the the opportunity for people to take advantage of that critical readiness service. And so I just want to say thank you very much. This is really what we mean when we talk about cradle to college. This is a cradle to college pipeline, plus trades if you don't want to go to college. And so that is what I really appreciate about this. So thank you. Councilmember Kettle.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Chair. Before saying thank you related to the levy, I just wanted to start with a thank you to Councilmember Solomon. I didn't speak during the time of the proclamation because I didn't think I could add to your comments in any meaningful way other than say just thank you. So I do so here, but particularly saying thank you for tying it into the idea of being educated. I really liked how you framed it, and it is so important, and it really, really highlights in so many different aspects the importance of education. So thank you for that. I also thank Councilmember Saka, and say congratulations on the amendment passing. I was looking at it from an implementation plan, but I understand where that's coming from, and I understand the points that you're saying. Particularly as you noted, as a father of a elementary school age child, I'm recently out of the preschool world myself, a little different, but similar. And so I understand the points that you're making, and I understand the points made from those who had children before, as mentioned by Councilmember Moore. And it is so important to build that early piece. And that experience of being a stay-at-home dad really taught me the value in a profound way in terms of what this levy brings. So with that, I want to thank Councilmember Rivera for all the work that you've done. I recognize it is a heavy lift, a lot of work, a lot of visits to my office, and so I appreciate that. But I also want to thank Director Chappelle and Deputy Mayor Washington for their leadership on this. I think is really important. The work that they've done, the coordination pieces, primarily with Councilmember Rivera, but also with council members like myself. It is so important. I mentioned being a stay-at-home dad, being a father, and how it views my view on this levy and the importance of the levy, but I wanted to highlight the Seattle Promise Program. In your comments during public comment, first generation, so important. So as a son of immigrants and a welder, like Councilmember Rivera, the trade, so important. The first generation kid, firstborn of the family, first generation kid, and first generation college kid, son of a tradesman, a welder. It's really important, super important. And what this does to bring up those who don't have the advantages, oftentimes from different societal breakdowns, race and the like, but also social economic, which was my case. And I just see how important that is. And it's in keeping with the, how many times I was asked, why did I come to America? Countless. And I would say, yes, Dad. Education, education, education. So I will vote yes in honor of Brian Kettle, but also my mom, Nancy Kettle. Thank you.
Councilmember Moore.
Oh, thank you, Chair. Just a few brief comments. So, I just want to note that the disagreements on this dais about the last amendment and about some of the other amendments are really, we're all trying to expand, right? We're all coming from a place of trying to expand the services that we're providing and to really uplift and provide the support that's necessary. And so always take comfort in that, that ultimately we all have the best interests of our community at heart. And that's a really important thing to remember and to continue to voice. And then I did too also want to express my appreciation to Director and Deputy for their incredible collaboration and coming to committee over and over. And also finally just to Councilmember Rivera for the amazing stewardship that you've shown in bringing forth this legislation and getting it over to conclusion, and working with all of our colleagues to make it really a very strong product and something that I think we can all be very proud to put before the voters. So thank you to my colleagues for your incredible work, and thank you to Councilmember Rivera for your leadership.
Councilmember Saka.
Thank you, Madam Council President. Plus one, echo, thank you, Councilmember Moore. It's like based off of the discussions today and then we've had over the past few months, it is very clear, every last one of us, we care deeply and we all share a common goal. And I think now that the main voting is behind us, now it's time to rally together and get this before voters, because I think this is an exciting package that everyone, every last one of us should be proud of. I'll say this, in my office today, both my office here at City Hall and my home office, I have a painting hung up, prominently displayed behind me by Jacob Lawrence. This Jacob Lawrence is a adopted Seattleite, as we know. Grew up, cut his teeth artistically in New York, but we're proud to call him one of our own here in Seattle because he spent the last part of his years in Seattle, including teaching at the University of Washington. Very prominent artist, known for, among other things, depicting the Harlem Renaissance era. And in the famous painting, The Library, by Lawrence, he depicts a bunch of people, individuals, gather around a table, individually and collectively as a community, gathering around a table with books abound, faces and books all around, books everywhere, because the name implies they're in a library. And artistic works are always subject to interpretation. It's the very essence and nature of art. But for me, that work, that brilliant work, symbolizes and epitomizes the way out. That no matter your background or circumstances that you were born into, no matter if you experience multi-generations of trauma and injustice or slavery, no matter if you were like me and my dad was a frontline warehouse worker, or if you're like me and someone who was a former foster kid, those things are hard challenges to overcome. But education is the key, and empowerment that empowers individuals and communities to uplift themselves and do better, create a better life. That's the American way that I know and that I love. That's the path, education. So paramount, and I too want to thank Councilmember Solomon for kind of highlighting, touching upon the significance of education as a means for opportunity for all. But, and that's what this levy does, in my view. Expands opportunities for all. With the most important thing, my kids play sports. They do a bunch of activities, and you know, we're very privileged because I didn't do any of that growing up. I didn't do any kind of organized sports until high school or activities. But they know that the most important thing in our household is and will always be education. And that's why I'm so proud of this levy, is because everyone, it's easy to champion and do things for your own family and your own community, but what are you doing for the broader public? All right. I finally, I just want to echo my praise and appreciation for Councilmember Rivera for all of your terrific partnership and collaboration on this end to end from early, like I think last year. Last year was the first time we met and talked about this. So I want to thank you, your staff, for all your hard work. We couldn't have got here without you, and I'm grateful for your leadership on this. I also want to thank Jasmine from our central staff, who has been so patient with me in my office and addressing my many questions along the way. So thank you, Jasmine, and all of our central staff. Also, thank you, Deputy Mayor Washington, Director Dr. Chappelle, and his terrific staff at Deal for your hard work on bringing this to life, getting us to this point, and then, no doubt, should voters approve, implementing it. So many people. Also, now former Deputy Mayor Emery, now current SDOT Director, who did some initial work on this before handing off to Deputy Mayor Washington. So total team effort, but especially want to highlight and uplift and celebrate the work of Councilmember Rivera. Thank you. You mentioned last week your father would be proud. I didn't have the pleasure of knowing your father, but if education was at all important to him, I 100% know in my mind and in my heart that he would have been proud, because I damn sure know my own dad, who thankfully is still alive today, warehouse worker, former warehouse worker, and military vet, and we struggled growing up. And he's proud of this. Not me being here at this dais, but that we're working together to help bring more educational opportunities for all. So thank you.
Councilmember Rink.
Thank you, Council President. Colleagues, I think it's no surprise to anyone how passionate I am about this levy and the promise that it offers for Seattle's young people. This is a really exciting thing that we are doing, and I'm very excited to send this to voters. And on a personal note, I'm a product of the Boys and Girls Club, a product of after-school programs. They're the reason why I'm here, and anyone who knows a little bit about my story knows that I had a hard upbringing, as well as I know a number of folks up here on this dais, and these programs can change the trajectory of someone's life, and they certainly did for me. And so, very excited about what we're doing in this levy, but I would be remiss if I didn't say that I think we could have done more. And we know we have serious problems coming our way. We have high community need. We have federal funding that is already leaving our city, and we are facing a huge budget deficit. And I know I put forward a number of amendments that did not go through, and I want to personally thank Councilmember Saka and Councilmember Strauss for supporting those amendments, which would have expanded FreshBucks to support 4,000 families, offering a $40 monthly benefit, as well as additional funding for families facing deportation right now. Our immigrant neighbors are being detained right now, people who are legally allowed to be here as well. And so I ask you again to join me at the federal building in the coming weeks to bear witness to that matter. And I want to close with this piece around, I heard loud and clear support on this dais for the priorities I set forth in my amendments, but voicing concern that the levy isn't the right place to do it. Okay. But we are headed into a budget season. I hope these remain your priorities as we engage in this in budget. I sincerely do. Again, there is a lot to be excited about in this levy, and I think we can all stand behind and champion this. But our work fighting for Seattle kids and working families can't stop there. We have to keep up the energy and keep up the work. And so with that, I'm excited to vote yes today to really make sure that we're putting forward and I think we can be proud of the work that we've done, but the work doesn't stop here. Thank you, Council President.
Councilmember Hollingsworth.
Thank you, Council President, and I'll be super quick. Sending deep felt and heartfelt gratitude to Councilmember Rivera and their office. I know you worked long hours, long days, and you really put your heart and soul in this. We all might have disagreements about how stuff should operate or how we get to a certain thing, but one thing I know that we all agree on is our kids and our babies and the love that we have for them. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And this should be an excitement time because we're putting forth the largest levy for family education's levy towards the voters, and I'm going to be doing my part. The best part that I know that I can do is to make sure people vote for it and to make sure that people know about it and to make sure that we're talking about how transformational that this levy is going to be for our kids and then the investment that this is going to have for our community and education, after school programs, food, feeding them, making sure that they are well, and so just wanted to say that I was late to this meeting because I was at the 5th grade graduation for Lowell Elementary. The kids are incredibly excited about this levy. They all know about this levy, and so colleagues passing on from the 5th grade class of Lowell Elementary, Lowell Elementary, congratulations. And I know our colleagues are really proud of you, and colleagues, they send their gratitude, and they are very excited to know members. Thank you.
Congratulations, 5th graders at Lowell. Councilmember Strauss.
Thank you, Council President. Just a deep, heartfelt moment of gratitude to everyone who's worked on this levy and the levies that have come before it. I know that Deputy Mayor Washington not only worked on this levy, but on the last one as well. I know Jasmine Marwaha did the same. And Councilmember Rivera, I'm not sure what your involvement was on the last one, but I really appreciate all the hard work that you put into this one. Colleagues, I have said before, and I often say that the impacts of this levy and investments like it, we will not know because we are changing lives generationally. I'm not going to repeat the stories that you've already shared about your lives, just to say that it's not just the kids that are experiencing these educational opportunities, it's all those who come after them that will also get to benefit. I say that because we've already seen the immediate impacts of the preschool program as it was initially developed a number of years ago. We then got to see the impacts of the Promise program and how we can go from cradle to college. And this proposal stands on the shoulders of those who have come before us to provide an even better way to serve those who are coming up today. Thank you.
This will be the last time that we can actually speak to this levy from the dais. We're about to throw it to to King County to put it on the ballot, and so I just want to say thank you again very, very much. This is an opportunity to really invest in our future, from the cradle to college, as I say. So, voters, I'm looking right at you. Pay attention when this lands on your doorstep. Go ahead, please grace us with your final words.
Thank you, Council President and Councilmember Strauss. I was here for the last levy, and Deputy Mayor Washington and I worked with Director Chappelle to help on the implementation part, and I actually was here. That's when Seattle Promise was created, and then we see 7 years later what a great program. It exceeded our expectations. If you're a parent, you know, I always tell my kids who are now teenagers, you are more than I had ever hoped that you would be as human beings. And that is a really profound thing, and I feel that about the Seattle Promise. It says a lot, so thank you for being here. We've got Seattle College's representation here. I want to give a huge thanks to Deputy Mayor Washington at the Mayor's Office for her amazing partnership on this levy. I want to thank Director Dwayne Chappelle. I also want to thank some folks that don't always get recognition. So Izzy Fajardo and Marissa Roussel from Deal, I'm looking at you. Lori from the Mayor's Office, I'm looking at you. Wendy Sykes and Nicole Munoz Castleduck with my office. I'm looking at you, particularly Nicole, who's a fellow Puerto Rican and also has experienced challenges as I did as a kid. And so this is especially meaningful to her as well to have worked on as Emilia Sanchez, I'm looking at you too, who also understand the huge impacts that this has on our kids and for our kids. And Jody Schwinn, thank you for your support. I want to thank the Seattle colleges for being here at every FEP levy meeting that we had. I did note you were here. And I want to thank the staff, the Seattle College's staff that support the Promise students. I want to thank the child care providers and the preschool providers who all engaged on this levy. I want to thank community members who engaged on this levy with Deal and my office. Amanda from Deal, looking at you too. Want to thank you for your efforts on this. You know, once we take a vote, Council President, you're right, we're not going to be able to really tell voters to vote, but since it's not yet on the ballot, I'm going to say, voters, I'm looking at you, vote for this levy. This is something that you can really stand behind and feel proud of, because all of this money and all of these investments goes to kids, to supporting kids, to helping kids be successful. I am so proud of this levy. I know it will have support. You know, as that low-income Latina kid growing up in the inner city then, and as a proud mom of two teenagers now who are Seattle Public School students, one's in college now, but she did graduate from Seattle Public Schools, go Ingram. I want to be sure that we are supporting our kids succeed in life. Education was the key for me, and I know it is the key to success in life. There is nothing more than you can gift a child than education and the supports that go along with it, and this is what this is all about. Because even on the early education front, we're supporting working families, but it's really about the kids. The support is for the kids. It's early learning for the kids. We know that early learning on the front end means they have success on the back end. So we double down on early learning in this levy, in addition to continuing our K through 12 support so they can have those tutoring and mentoring opportunities so they can succeed, because it doesn't matter if kids are not meeting math and reading, they're not going to be able to graduate high school and go on to the Promise program. So this is really, really critical. We know this is what it takes to help kids succeed. And that is what this levy is all about. I want to thank you all, colleagues, for partnering with me on this journey. And this is just an emotional and a really proud moment for me personally. And I think this is something that I am so deeply and excited about. I'm excited about this. I cannot wait for November to see this pass. And to have Deal continue its investments in all our kids across Seattle from cradle to college. And so thank you all for being here, and thank you all for partnering, and let's get voting to vote this thing to get it on the ballot. Thank you, Council President.
Excellent. Okay, will the clerk please call the roll on the passage of the amended legislation?
Councilmember Rivera.
And I get to go first, an emphatic yes.
Councilmember Saka.
Energetic, yes.
Councilmember Solomon. Councilmember Solomon.
Aye.
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing your thing. Thank you. Councilmember Strauss. Councilmember Hollingsworth.
Yes.
Councilmember Kettle.
Aye.
Councilmember Moore. Councilmember Moore.
Aye.
Councilmember Rink.
Yes.
Council President Nelson.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
Excellent. Congratulations. The bill passes, and the chair will sign it. Would the clerk please affix my signature to the legislation on my behalf? Congratulations. All right. Will the clerk please read the title of item 2 into the record? I think 4. Will the clerk please read item 4 into the record?
The report of the Parks, Public Utilities, and Technology Committee, Agenda Item 4, Council Bill 120997, related to current use taxation, improving an application of current use taxation of property located at 9666 51st Avenue South under King County Public Benefit Rating System. The committee recommends the bill pass.
All right. Will the clerk, Councilmember Hollingsworth, as chair of the committee, you're recognized to provide the committee report.
Awesome. Thank you, colleagues, or thank you, Council President. And colleagues, I hope to have your support on this, and maybe we can give this bill a standing ovation. The last bill got a great clap. Anywho, the current use taxation is a program. Well, it's about taxes, so we can clap for that. The current use of taxation is a program that provides an incentive for property owners to voluntarily maintain open space on private land by taxing the property at a lower rate based on current use rather than the developed profitable use. So this ordinance is to approve an application submitted from the Indigenous Creatives Collective, representing a community of intertribal Indigenous artists for use taxation property located at 9666 51st Avenue South, just north of Kubota Gardens in Rainier Beach, and that is District 2 in Councilmember Solomon's district. Under the King County Public Benefit Rating System, we were able to pass this out of committee with none opposed. I think it was 4 in favor, none opposed. I'm not really sure. I wasn't listening properly. My apologies. But colleagues, I urge your support, and this is a great program for us to continue to maintain open spaces that are in our city that we really care about and continue to expand our tree canopy. Thank you.
All right. Are there any comments? Okay. Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll on the passage of the bill?
Councilmember Rivera. Councilmember Saka.
Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Solomon.
Aye.
Councilmember Strauss.
Yes.
Councilmember Hollingsworth.
Yes.
Councilmember Kettle.
Aye.
Councilmember Moore.
Aye.
Councilmember Rink.
Yes.
Council President Nelson.
Aye.
Can you?
Eight.
Can we hold on for
Do you
just
want
a
to
quick
vote?
second?
Can you please hold on one moment? There's a 9th, I believe.
Aye.
There we go.
9 in favor, none opposed.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Stand up. No. All right. The bill passes and the chair will sign it. Will the clerk please affix my signature to the legislation on my behalf? Okay. Will the clerk please read item 5 into the record?
The report of the Public Safety Committee, Agenda Item 5, Council Bill 120996, relating to emergency medical services, authorizing execution pursuant to the Interlocal Cooperative Act of an agreement with the King County regarding the imposition and allocation of property tax revenues generated by 6-year voter-approved King County-wide tax levy for emergency medical services, approved by submittal by King County of a proposition to the voters seeking authority to levy those additional taxes. The committee recommends the bill pass.
Okay. Councilmember Kettle, as chair of the committee, you're recognized to provide the committee report.
Thank you, Council President. Colleagues, I ask for your support for Council Bill 120996. This is for the EMS levy, for the King County EMS levy. This is to place it on the ballot in November. The King County EMS levy first began in 1979. It's been renewed on 6-year cycles, the last time being in 2019. This is a crucial levy for us and for our ability to help our neighbors. 1/3 of our city's EMS operations depend on the levy. It's crucial. And I should note 100% of the EMS levy revenue supports Seattle Fire Department's emergency medical services. And this will be increased over the course of the period to account for inflation and other needs. The key part here is that the legacy of this work that we started initially in the early 1970s, but here with the EMS levy in '79, is that the legacy continues. Just recently, there was reports regarding the revive rates for Seattle. This goes to the work of the Seattle Fire Department, the work that they've done on so many fronts in terms of emergency medical response. It's there. The op tempo that goes with our Seattle Fire Department is incredible, and this is something that's of concern, but also pride in terms of the work that they do and for our city, whether it's Medic 1, Health 1, Health 99 these days. But overall, the work that the Seattle Fire Department does is incredible, and it's to our benefit. And we are basically the example for others, not just across the country, but the world to follow. But this requires our continued support. And so, again, colleagues, I ask for your support for this King County EMS levy to be passed today in order to be placed on the November ballot. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you very much for that and being the steward of this measure. Are there any comments? Okay, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll on the passage of the bill?
Councilmember Rivera.
Aye.
Councilmember Saka.
Aye.
Councilmember Solomon. Aye. Councilmember Strauss.
Yes.
Councilmember Hollingsworth.
Yes.
Councilmember Kettle.
Aye.
Councilmember Moore.
Aye.
Councilmember Rink.
Yes.
Council President Nelson.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
The bill passes and the chair will sign it. Will the clerk please affix my signature to the legislation on my behalf?
Thank you.
All right. Will the clerk please read item 6 into the record?
Agenda item 6, Council Bill 120994, relating to surveillance technology implementation, authorizing approval and uses, accepting the 2025 updated surveillance impact report and 2025 executive overview of the Seattle Police Department's use of tracking devices. The committee recommends the bill pass.
All right. You're still up. Councilmember Kettle, as chair of the committee, you're recognized to provide the committee report.
Thank you again, Council President. Colleagues, I once again ask for your support, this time for Council Bill 120994 for the Star Chase program. As noted, this is a GPS tracker program that helps us in terms of being better at creating a safer Seattle. Importantly to note, this is a program coming from the state, and this will be essentially funded by the state over the next 2 years at a rate of $250,000. It'll be implemented on 25 vehicles, and all officers will be trained on how to use it. This will allow us to look at the efficiency of the program, see how it supports our public safety posture, and if we continue to use it, the amount per year was $37K approximately. This could be an incredible move forward for our city in terms of public safety because of the importance of the issue of pursuit. You know, we obviously over the history there's been concerns and issues related to pursuit, and this is an opportunity to do it better and smarter, to create a safer city, to address the situation at hand in terms of an effective arrest and to create a safe environment there, but also to avoid the challenges that often accompany with an active pursuit. This is something that we've learned over the years, something that we've generally have been looking to address, and this is a great opportunity using the dollars from the state in order to do so. I note it's used across the country since 2019, a very good tag adhesion and then apprehension nationwide. A little bit lower here in Washington, although King County Sheriff's Office has recently gotten the program, and so far they're 5 for 5. I should note also Linwood, Tacoma, Redmond, Everett, and Thurston County are also using the program. And I should note too that this is going to be used in conjunction with the Real-Time Crime Center. So important for all of our public safety bills from last year and through this year is to then basically bring them to life, operationalize them. And the Real-Time Crime Center has reached its initial operating capability, and it is online, not full mission capable yet, but it's moving in that direction with the other programs that we've done, whether it's CCTV or the automatic license plate reader, ALPR. And so this is about bringing a comprehensive approach to what we're doing, and for this bill to address the challenges that we face with pursuit. So with all that said, thank you for those that are part of this and committee, and I humbly ask for your support for Council Bill 120994. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you very much. Are there any comments? All right, I'm not seeing any. Will the clerk please call the roll on the passage of the bill?
Councilmember Rivera.
Aye.
Councilmember Saka.
Aye.
Councilmember Solomon.
Aye.
Councilmember Strauss.
Yes.
Councilmember Hollingsworth.
Yes.
Councilmember Kettle.
Aye.
Councilmember Moore.
Aye.
Councilmember Rink,
No.
Council President Nelson.
Aye.
8 in favor, 1 opposed.
The bill passes and the chair will sign it. Will the clerk please affix my signature to the legislation on my behalf? And will the clerk please read item 7 into the record?
The report of the Sustainability City Light Arts and Culture Committee, agenda item 7, Council Bill 120986, relating to the City Light Department authorizing execution of an indefensible right of use fiber sharing agreement with Ziply Fiber Pacific LLC for an effective period of up to 2 15-year terms. Committee recommends the bill pass with Councilmembers Rink, Solomon, Strauss, and Councilmember Saka abstention.
Councilmember Rink, as chair of the committee, you're recognized to provide the committee report.
Thank you, Council President. Regarding the ordinance, the legislation would authorize Seattle City Light to execute an indefeasible RU fiber sharing agreement with Ziply Fiber for an effective period of up to 2 15-year terms. Via this agreement, both City Light and Ziply would each both gain rights to use fiber connections in each other's party's system in a reciprocal exchange during the allotted time period. Both parties would also share maintenance costs. These shared fiber networks span between City Light's Bothell substation and Marble Mound up in Northwest Washington. City Light is seeking to increase reliability between Bothell and Diablo, where there's limited cell service, let alone internet access is currently available. So whether for school, work, healthcare, or just memes, the darkest days of the COVID-19 stay-at-home order certainly cemented for all of us the case why everyone in our city and Washington state need access to quality, reliable internet connection at home. As this council bill left committee with a recommendation to pass, I would appreciate this council's support in passing this legislation today. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments from colleagues? All right, I am not seeing any. Will the clerk please call the roll on the passage of the bill?
Councilmember Rivera.
Aye.
Councilman. Thank
Aye.
you. Councilmember Saka.
Aye.
Councilmember Solomon.
Aye.
Councilmember Strauss.
Yes.
Councilmember Hollingsworth.
Yes.
Councilmember Kettle.
Aye.
Councilmember Moore.
Aye.
Councilmember Rink.
Yes.
Council President Nelson.
Aye.
9 in favor, none opposed.
The bill passes and the chair will sign it. Will the clerk please affix my signature to the legislation on my behalf? All right. There were no items removed from the consent calendar, and there is not a resolution for introduction and adoption today. Is there any further business to come before council? Councilmember Moore.
Thank you, Chair. So, point of personal privilege, I just want to note that today is the last day for my Chief of Staff, Hannah Thorson, who is sitting in the office masked up because she's not feeling well, but has come in nonetheless to work on her very last day, which just a further example of her incredible dedication and passion to this job. I have been so fortunate to have had the privilege of working with her and to have been in partnership with her. She has been instrumental into the accomplishments that my office has been able to achieve in our time here. She will be going to HSD, where I know she will be a phenomenal contributor. She will be acting as their council liaison, so all of you will get to continue to work with her, which I think is wonderful. And I know she'll be embarrassed by this, but I did really want to call out her phenomenal work and her ethic of public service and commitment to this city. So thank you, Hannah, for everything that you've done. And I'm going to miss you, and our office is going to miss you. And best of luck to you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any further business? Okay, seeing none, we've reached the end of today's agenda. Our next regularly scheduled City Council meeting is on June 24th at 2 p.m. And hearing no further business, it is 3:50 and we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.